what makes a good gas block and what to avoid. So the very first thing when you start looking at gas blocks, you just Google gas blocks, is you'll notice some are adjustable and some are not. There are pros and cons to adjustable and not. The biggest pro to getting one that is not adjustable is that it's just less things to break, less things to fail, less mechanical features, and so they're just simpler. So typically when you pick up a firearm from Palmetto State Armory, it's a non-adjustable gas block. It's likely going to be a little bit overgassed, and typically an overgassed rifle on average will function better with a wide variety of ammunition and will be more or less a higher reliable gun. That's not necessarily true in every case, but also if it's like a self-defense gun, or you're out in the desert, fighting, whatever, that thing's getting dirty, it's kind of nice to have a non-adjustable. It's just one less thing to fail. The nice thing about having an adjustable is it lets you tune your rifle to the ammunition that you're shooting. Depending on the type of gas block, it lets you adjust it if you throw in a suppressor, so that way you're not getting crazy gases back at you. So there are, if it's like a range gun or a nicer gun, competition gun, then definitely go with the adjustable version. Whereas if it's like a duty gun or a personal defense or home defense gun, then maybe consider the adjustable one. So materials, steel. That's it. If it's aluminum, no. You should not do an aluminum gas block. The only reason you may consider something like an aluminum, I don't even want to say this, is if you have a super lightweight build and you're just cutting off a little bit. But just gas blocks, they get stupid hot, as shown in this picture here. So just don't do aluminum. You can do titanium, but titanium won't tend to seal quite as well as just a good old steel gas block. So most gas blocks are going to be a 4140 steel or harder, or stainless steel is fine as well. Anything reputable is going to meet those specs, but you can get cheap junky ones even made of steel as well. That might be made of Chinesium. So just get a reputable brand and you're going to be good to go as far as the material it's made out of. You do want to look for one that's finished, so like a nitride finish. There's a name brand of nitride that you often see called Melanite. So you just want something finished, or a stainless steel version. It's going to get corroded otherwise, so look for that. There's two different types that you can get. There's a clamp-on version where it goes around and then you tighten some bolts together. Those ones tend to make a little bit of a better seal. However, if you don't really either use a red Loctite and get it really well aligned, it can cause issues further down the road. And then the other kind, and these are typically more popular. In fact, I think every single one of mine are these. They're just set screws on the bottom. More set screws tends to be better, tends to hold it in better. I think most of mine are just 2 set screws. When you put those set screws in, you do want to use either a red Loctite or rock set, something that's going to keep that from backing off. Oftentimes when you do have some issues with your rifle, it's very common that it's your gas block moving or walking off, and that gas port is just not aligned, and you're not going to get enough gas to cycle it back. Adjustable type blocks, there's 2 main types. So there's one, and I actually have one of these. It's in my safe. I'm too lazy to go get it. It's an Allen key. It's a big long Allen wrench that you stick in, and then you can adjust it as just a screw. The tricky part with those screws is they will tend to walk or move over the course of several hundred rounds, and then you can, depending on which way it walked, you can either get overgas, or it can shut off your gas, and then it can make your gun just not reliable. And so unless you use like a red Loctite or a rock set or something on that adjustable screw, it'll walk off. And the tricky part is if you use a rock set on that, then you're kind of defeating the whole point of having an adjustable gas block from the get-go. The other option is there's a lever. There's some with levers, and I'll put a picture of one here that have detents, and so you can physically feel when that lever is being moved. They're nicer because they're easier to adjust on the fly. You don't need a special tool. You can typically because you don't need a big long special Allen key to get in there and adjust them, so that's nice. You can mark where the adjustments are at, or just memorize it, so when you're shooting suppressed, you can even adjust it back and forth between when you're shooting suppressed or not suppressed, so that's kind of nice. They tend to not walk off as much, and if they do, it's much easier to notice. So I would stay away from the adjustable ones that just have an Allen key. Get a little bit nicer one with a detent and then the lever on it as well. Another feature that is a little bit less common on gas blocks are bleed-off gas blocks, and that essentially, when you back out the screw enough, it will let gases out of the gas block into the ambient environment, which does have some advantages because it'll only essentially send enough gases back to your bolt to cycle the bolt, and then as you adjust it more gases are let out, so that way you can tune it, and then when you throw a suppressor on, it just lets more gases out and it doesn't send as many gases back, so it can kind of dynamically change based on your ammunition or whether you're shooting suppressed. I personally don't have much experience with them. I've read about them, but I do not own one, so there are some pros there, but again, more features, more things that could potentially fail. There are different diameters, so there's a number, so common is like 0.75 or 0.625 or even larger. That's the diameter of the barrel. That one, there's not really one that is better. It's just going to be for the type of barrel you'll have, whether you have a heavy barrel, normal barrel, pencil barrel, whatever. So if you don't know what barrel you have, go measure your barrel before you go buy a gas block. In some ARs, especially older ones, military ones, they pin the gas block in, and that's tends to be even more reliable than set screws or clamping. However, it is much less common. They do have, sometimes you'll see fancy gas blocks with like rails or other things that you can attach accessories to or whatever. Those are less common, and just don't, like, your gas blocks get ungodly hot, so just get a low profile one that's adjustable, high quality finish, high quality steel, and you'll be good to go every single time. Anyway, guys, if you have strong opinions on your gas blocks, please put in the comment section below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope this helped you out. See you in the next one.